Hello, my name is Julio, and welcome back to the IVF Daddies podcast. Today, I'm with a very, very special guest that have helped me navigate a lot of things here while I'm in Ibiza building businesses. And her name is Louisa. How are you?
Hi, Julio. How are you?
I am great. This is really funny because we were just giggling about the fact that we have a group of friends, and in our group of friends, there's like three or four people that you have introduced me
Yes,
that have the same name.
it's crazy. Like I've never met so many people now here that are all either it's Luisana, Luis, Luisa. It's crazy. But yeah, so my name is Luisa. Thank you so much for having me on your today's podcast.
No, thank you for being a part of it because I thought first I love your discipline, I love your
Thank you.
sweet commitment, and I love the way you approach life. I feel like in this island a lot of things are people are if you or in the world, like if you're busy, there's a lot going on and social media take you away from real life. And I think you're one of the people that make things happen. And if you say you're going to do something, you do it. And that is very valuable. If you say you're going to show up, you show up. And that is, to me, is 80% of the job. Well, I
Thank you.
appreciate that you're here.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I actually, that's true. Like I started a new business recently. I'm a certified life coach, and it was amazing to actually coach you and also to show that to my supervisors how I coach you, but also to see your own growth. And I really believe that in everything now, actually coaching more clients, that the power is already within us. Sometimes we just need it could be an extra push. It could be just an extra, it could be even a friend or family members just reminding you how amazing we actually are. And this is something that I guess along the way we sometimes forget, especially when we're super stressed or especially when we're having a lot going on. So it was very nice to being able to coach you and to witness you growth in a quite short time, actually.
Yeah. And that's the question that I wanted to get. You just touched on a point that is what I had on my mind. The power is within us. We all know that's something that I wanted to touch base with you because we all know that discipline gets results. We all know that drinking water. What is it that the power within us don't look? What is blocking us from ourselves?
I think that I feel that if you have, and at the end, everyone has their own traumas, and it's how we are looking at our traumas. So if we look at it and we see, okay, this is actually a learning experience, rather like, okay, this is a limitation, I'm stuck, this is something that I'm ruined, this is something that I will have for the rest of my life. Or you switch it and you say, okay, this was a very learning experience, and how am I going to move forward? And how can I be able to be better than yesterday? So instead of seeing it as a limitation, like this is me and I'm stuck and I'm always going to be like this, how can I try to be better tomorrow? So with discipline as well, it's like, if I think about how I did it yesterday, what can I can already do one little step further, a little bit better than I did yesterday. It's creating this discipline. Discipline also comes from a habit. We're creating habits, and this is also if you start with a small habit and you make it consistent and you grow from that, and you literally start with something small that you're, okay, I want to switch this, and you start already by doing something better than yesterday. This is at the end where you create this discipline and where we're moving forward, and also where you feel like the power is already within you, because it's something that you maybe were lacking, but at the end we had that already within us, but it's just a matter of realization as well.
Yeah, I think when we talked and we had the conversation, it didn't even feel like a coaching session. It felt more like somebody's guiding me to align. Say sometimes the road gets difficult and then you just divert to other smaller tasks to not feel like you're gonna fail task. So you do the little things on the side to procrastinate. And I feel like that relates a lot to, if I put it to in comparison to IVF and surrogacy or having a baby or trying to create a family, we're never ready to have kids. in our minds. We want to have until we get this, until we get that, until
Yes, the
like,
perfect ideal situation always in our head. Yeah.
yeah. So how was your experience to get to the point to have your beautiful baby boy, Senna?
So I was diagnosed with PCOS when I was 18 years old. And PCOS is a polycystic ovary syndrome. So it means that you have different type of PCOS. And it mainly, in my case, had an effect on my blood sugars. So I was very sensitive to insulin. And it got me to, when I was diagnosed when I was 18, it got me to actually take control of my own health. Instead of going for what the route was with doctors telling me, okay, I have to take hormones, I actually went for a natural way. And I tried to kind of like reverse it with the right diet, I really believe in its diet, its movement, its sleep, and its rest. These kind of like the things that I really focused on during my experience.
And how did you get to what were the points that made you even consider to check?
Yes, so I had a lot of irregular periods. I had very bad skin. I've noticed it that I had some weight gain struggles that I was like, I thought I was eating quite healthy, but still I was always fluctuating a lot. So I went to the doctor and immediately they saw that I had PCOS, but instead of like not really working on the problem, it was just to cure the symptoms, right? So yeah, okay, so you're now dealing with this hormonal acne. Well, we're gonna get you on hormones. But I was like, well, I want to have eventually, so I was 18 back then, but I want to eventually have kids natural, or at least have them, because with PCOS, a lot of times when we Google it, most of the first things we see, it's like, oh, you're not able to get pregnant natural. So it was for me quite shocking, and I was already at that age thinking, no, I don't want to be dependent on medicine and things. I want to see if I can, in a way, be able to do it the natural way and see if I can reverse it or at least reduce the symptoms. And that made me realize that I can do a lot with food.
You just said that you went to the doctor and then the doctor wanted to focus on what most people want. They want the easy route. They want that pill that will cure something, or to do the surgery that will remove.
Yes.
And he didn't offer you to take care of the main problem, but he offered you to assume that you will want to have a better skin, that you want to have
Exactly.
take the pill for the skin, take the pill for the reason. I started to learn about endometriosis. Is that related to endometriosis?
No, this is really based on actually your ovaries, and most of the time with a different type of PCOS, but most of the time it's an insulin sensitivity. There were very women with PCOS, and actually 1 in 5 women nowadays have PCOS. So it's, yeah, and it of course comes with acne, it comes with hair loss, it comes with especially having more weight on the midsection of your body. So it comes with a lot of hormonal imbalances.
If you have to give an advice to somebody that has daughters, or somebody that is young or having her period, or what is a key factor for you to say, wait a second, I need to go check this?
If you have, I think it starts with irregular periods. As a woman, if you experience that, also if you experience hair loss, or if you experience more acne on your hormonal part, so it's like more on the cheeks. If you feel that you are fatigued a lot, if you feel that you are that type of carbs, sugar in general makes you very bloated. Bloatiness is also a common thing that women face with PCOS as well. So it has different type of things that you can see already, like, okay, maybe I'm sensitive to insulin. And most women have this issue.
And especially nowadays, everything has sugar in it, right?
Yes.
Inflammation is really strong in everybody's diet.
Inflammation is very common thing, not only for us females, but definitely also for men. And I really believe that inflammation also causes infertility. How do you call it? Like infertility. And this is not only for women, by the way. 1 in 5 men also have infertility problems right now.
Well, it's 50-50.
So exactly.
People prefer the women.
Yes. And we can do a lot with diets.
Yeah.
If we start already today, man or female, we start with the right
Well,
nutrition.
it's what you put in your body. So you get your period. How is the process of how to find a doctor? How do you go to the doctor? Do you go to the doctor when you get your period? Do you go to the doctor when you feel something weird?
You go to the gynecologist when you feel that you do not have a regular period, when you feel that you have all these hormonal issues. You see it on your skin, you see it in your mood. I was very crampy. I was like anxious more often. If you're really young, you don't notice it. But when you're around 18 and you feel like, oh, but all these years since I got my period, I was like 13, my first period. And until I was 18, I was like, wow, this is very irregular. I see it, in fatigue. I see it in the bloatiness.
Wow. So from 13 to 18.
Yes. And then if you go to a gynecologist and you've been diagnosed with PCOS, I think it comes from my parents. They're very into natural approach, and they had a health business before. So I guess it comes from, in a way, my culture as well, that no, I do not have to go straight for medicine. Let's see first what I can do personally. And I went straight to doing own research. I love to learn. For me, like, life is all about learning. We never, and how much we learn, how more you know that you don't actually know anything, right? Came across the book from Dr. Mercola, which is Fat for Fuel, which is the importance of fat. Fat is crucial.
Good.
Yes. Good fat.
Fat
is fat from meat, animal-based. Yes, you can have it from avocado, from the butter, all these kind of things. And it was amazing to see that you can do a lot with food and with the right type of food.
Like, to get that diagnosis, a specific test is like, because something that I've noticed is when you go to the gynecologist, nobody asks you, do you want to check your egg count? Do you want to know your fertility? Do you want to know your lining of your uterus?
Yes, that's true.
And is this part of like a gynecologist checkup? They say, oh, your period is regular or irregular, or you go and present.
Yes, and I don't know if this is common in all countries, but for me it was like I needed to say like, okay, I think I have this. Could you check it? So it's not something that comes from the gynecologist. Like, it's something that you need to be like, please check me for either PCOS, and he saw it immediately.
These are basically invisible diseases. Like,
Yes.
it could be blamed or guilt trip into, oh, you're being dramatic, you're being hormonal,
Right.
being emotional, or like that. All these things, like, it's just the level of how do we remove the shame and the stigma and the guilt and just accept hormones and a period, and all of that has an impact on your body, and you don't have to wait 3, 4, 5 years to be believed.
Yes, no, it's true. Yeah. So it is, and luckily nowadays we have so much knowledge due to the media. We literally we can Google anything right now. So what I would just encourage anyone listening is, the moment you feel, and sometimes we just really feel it, like it's our gut saying something, right? Like, I feel different. This is not how I have to feel. And I felt it always when I was consuming too much. And I come from a background with maybe eating too much carbs. And I've always felt like, and I was telling this to my parents as well, like every time I'm eating much bread or potatoes, I feel that I'm way more bloated. And I also felt it with eating too much vegetables, that I felt very bloated. So I was listening to my body, but this is something, obviously we can just be following what others are saying. But if you really go intuitive and you feel like, no, there's something missing, there's something not correct now, go
Believe
to
that.
yes, because most of the times it's true, there's something happening. And I would not just be like, put it back under the rock and just like, no, it's fine, and you will be fine, it just takes some hormones. No, figure it out first yourself.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And how does that link to the moment of becoming a mom?
Like, the moment that I started to like focus more on my diet, I came across to a more keto approach, and eventually I actually became to eat more, I would say, animal-based, which I do today. And since I met my boyfriend a few years ago, both of us had this dream of having our own kids one day. But I've mentioned straight up to him, look, but I was diagnosed when I was 80 with PCOS, so maybe let's go already to explore other ways to get pregnant. So we went to a fertility clinic in Belgium, and the doctor told me, well, if we will be checking you today, you do not have PCOS anymore. So in a way, it was reversible. In a way, decreased all the PCOS symptoms by the diet I was doing. So it brings me to, I just want to mention that it was for me a big effect, the diet, but also, of course, stress factors and also my type of movement. I changed my exercises. I actually focused more on better sleep. And then the type of food I was consuming helped me to reverse a little bit the PCOS symptoms, decrease them. This was in 2022 in December that we had the appointment. We went to travel in January to the States. I was just like 1 month, there we were in Miami having fun, enjoying the summer, enjoying our holiday, and I got pregnant.
That is my dream, to have every woman to say, the moment they wanted to discuss having a family, you say, let's go to a fertility route.
Check both. But what I liked about it, when you go to a fertility clinic, it's you check both. It's men and female, because both, as you've mentioned earlier, are responsible.
Yeah, you need both 50-50.
Exactly, yes. And this is what I liked. It was not only like, oh, okay, I'm sorry you have PCOS, let's only check you. No, it was also checking his sperm.
How is that dynamic as a couple?
I think it's fantastic just to really be, because it's like putting the responsibility in two. And not just like, oh, it's the female's job to be healthy and to eat healthy, and then the baby will come. I don't think that is even. And the same goes for if you go any type of IVF route. It's also very important that both people are having actually, making sure that they're on the right diet, the right mindset as well. Super crucial.
There's no point for you going through all of this if the other side of the person that is going to create this baby is under stress, not eating healthy, not giving the right nutrients, not giving the right hormone. Like that is all going to go to the epigenetics of the baby creation. So when the doctor said that with your diet everything was reversed, is it something that it can come back? Is it something that post-pregnancy, or did it affect the pregnancy?
Yes, and it was very interesting because due to the fact that I have PCOS, or at least I'm very sensitive to insulin. So I've noticed during my pregnancy, I had a very easy pregnancy, very focusing, was eating a lot of healthy fats, a lot of protein. It was basically what my body was craving. So I was just consuming that a lot. But then after I gave birth, I've noticed that I was focusing more on our son, Senna. So what I did, kind of like forgot sometimes to eat, and you just be like, okay, I'm just going to drink a coffee instead, and, food will come later. And then I've noticed, that I actually was dealing more with some more hormonal issues, or having again, like irregular periods when my son is now 1 year old. I was like, no, it's so crucial to focus again on my own health and put my health first, and you have to put yourself first, and then comes the rest. Because if I am not eating properly, am I able to, be a good example to my son, or even taking care of him?
Yeah, or even taking care of him.
Yes,
be a healthy mom and be a healthy wife.
Absolutely.
A lot of people glorifying putting the kid first and sacrificing themselves, their sleeps, or their food, or their habits. I can feel guilty. Like I remember, because my brother has kids and my dad had kids from the second marriage. I remember, like, you want to wait for the kids not to finish the food, and then you just grab whatever they were eating. Or like you blame the snack. Like if the snacks are in the house and then you're not very conscious about it, and the sugar and all of that, then you can just fall into that, and then you just don't take care of your body. And then if you're prone to be sensitive of insulin, everything is super processed lately. So you have to be, and like if you want to be like a good mom, I mean, you want to stick around for a long time, you need to put yourself first.
Yes. And this brings me actually to what you've mentioning earlier about discipline. If there is no goal, the discipline is likely to fade away. So if we make sure that we have a good goal, because if there's no goal, we will never know if we're there.
Yeah, we go to wherever the love
Yes.
wins.
And if we have a goal, so in my goal in life is to be a good mom and to be a good example, to be a powerful mom, to be a powerful wife, and to be a good example for my son, for hopefully more kids that I will raise, showing that I'm able to take good care of myself, that they will naturally also get this. And this is my big objective in life. So I wake up every morning knowing like, hey, I want to be there. So it makes me to work out. It makes me to eat healthy because I want to be that, good example for them. So this comes the discipline. If we do not have a goal where we're going for, like, what is the reason for you to wake up in the morning? If we keep that in mind, we wake up and we're like, okay, what keeps us going every day? This makes us disciplined, because if we're not doing anything about it, then we're not getting better than yesterday.
Right, because I have to say, you were saying that you were trying to become the best mom. You are the best. Like, you're the best mom. You're amazing.
Thank you. I'm doing my best. And it's also nice that it's like, this is it's a journey, like what I'm trying to, because probably a lot of people listening to this, as a mom, even as a dad, you feel that you're constantly behind. You feel like you're constantly struggling, like you feel that nothing is actually going well. But it's something like, this is so natural, I feel, as a parent, that you are worried that you're doing something wrong, or that you're worried that, but at the end, it's like you're doing everything with good intentions. If you are a good example, if you're making sure that you're doing, the best as you can.
Don't be so hard on yourself. Because if you ask me, the right or wrong is your only goal is to keep your baby alive.
Yes.
Your only goal in life is to train this kid to learn how to live without you.
Yes.
Give me one example that you would say, where do you feel like, oh my God, I feel like I'm being behind in this, or I feel like I could be better in this, that you could say that you're being demanding on yourself, and not necessarily in a bad way. And it's good to have high goals. I prefer to have high goals and never achieve them than mediocre goals, so I don't feel bad and fail.
Yes.
And the other question is, what is that thing that you were like, I was not expecting? Nobody told me this. Nobody mentioned this anywhere. What would you wanted to hear?
So it's funny because as a certified life coach, I'm coaching also other moms. What I've realized is that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be constantly there, being proactive, being an educational mom, making sure your kid is actually learning every day from you, making sure that my son is already 15 months, he's not walking yet, this type of pressure. And like, we're also living in a time where we compare a lot, right? Like, oh yeah, but they're on social media, this kid is already walking. So I guess that comes to where the pressure is coming from. And this is something that you just need to compare with just being there for your kids, and comparing is just something that will not take you anywhere. So you just see it as inspiration, maybe for social media. You see like, oh, this is nice what other kids are doing, and what other parents are doing. So for me, it is something that I've really tried to kind of like making sure that I am just fully present with my son, and his progress is his progress. And it's not because on the internet I see that kids already with 16, for example, my son is 15 months and some kids can already speak or have some words. My son is more about action, like walking and stuff, rather than
Kid is like a Ferrari. He's like
super active. But that is like, I guess that is like the main thing that parents will do, comparing like, oh, but then they can already do this at this age and he's not doing this yet. So that is something that we just need to be just present and appreciate what.
I was talking to a therapist about it, and if you say to your kid, or like, oh, you're doing great progress, you stimulate your kid to do better and do more. And if you tell your kid like, oh, you're so smart, then you make him afraid of failing or not.
Yes.
Not smart. And yeah, the comparison is a big killer. I feel like everybody is absolutely perfect. If the minute you compare,
Yes.
perfection is over. So it's just